What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. It's been a long time, but I am going to share with you some basketball through the mail returns. I've been really wanting to get back into other sports other than baseball, so hopefully this is the start of a couple more episodes with basketball that you'll be seeing in the near future. But we'll start with the first one, postmarked from Illinois, and that is former Chicago Bull Bill Wennington / Sacramento King / Dallas Maverick, Bill Wennington. So let me tell you about Bill Wennington and his career in basketball. Bill Wennington was born in Montreal, Canada. However, he moved to New York during middle school and his high school years. After having a successful career in high school, Bill was recruited to play for legendary coach Lou Carnesecca at St. John's University. During his time at St. John's, he played for one Final Four appearance during his tenure there. He also played for Team Canada, representing his native Canada in 1983 and also in 1984 in the Olympics. After finishing his career at St. John's, he was selected in the 1985 draft in the first round by the Dallas Mavericks. Bill never really was a starting player, and he would spend his time from 1985 to 1990 with the Dallas Mavericks. After the conclusion of the 1990 season, he was traded along with Rodney McRae to the Sacramento Kings. He would just spend that 1 year with the Sacramento Kings, and after he completed that season with Sacramento, he would sign to play in the Italian Basketball League for Virtus Bologna. While in Italy, he would be recruited to play for the Chicago Bulls, joining the Bulls in the 1993 season, and he would stick with the Chicago Bulls through 1999. He would be on the Bulls championship teams from 1996 to 1998, getting 3 championship rings with them. During his tenure with the Chicago Bulls, he actually had a sandwich named after him called the Beef Wennington at McDonald's. After his career with the Bulls, he would return to Sacramento and play in the 1999 and 2000 season with the Kings before retiring at the conclusion of the 2000 season. After his playing career, he would become a radio color commentator for the Chicago Bulls. He was then later inducted into the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame in 2015. So very happy to add Bill to the collection. I absolutely love these Skybox cards because they are great for autographs. The previous year's Skybox cards are horrible for autographs because they have the dark background, but these bright white Skybox cards are awesome. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, this next one is also a former Chicago Bull. And this actually was almost going to be a Bulls themed video, but the final player is not a Chicago Bull. So another return from Illinois, from former Chicago Bulls great John Paxson on 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, this awesome Skybox card is just awesome, signed in that nice blue Sharpie. So let me tell you about John Paxson and his career in basketball. Paxson, an Ohio native, is the son of former NBA player James Paxson, who played for the Minneapolis Lakers and the Cincinnati Royals in the 1950s. And his brother Jim actually had an 11-year career in the NBA, playing for the Portland Trail Blazers and the Boston Celtics. And I've actually done a video on Jim Paxson, and I'll link it up here in the corner or at the end of the video for you to view if you choose to do so. Paxson attended Archbishop Alter High School in Kettering, Ohio, following in the footsteps of his older brother Jim, who would later go on to play at the University of Dayton. Paxson, however, would become a 1979 McDonald's All-American and would later go to play in South Bend, Indiana for the prestigious Notre Dame University. In 1980-81, his sophomore year, Paxson led the Fighting Irish in assists with a career-high 138 in assists. He earned his first All-American recognition as a junior in 81-82, averaging 16 points and dishing out 4 assists per game. The following year, Paxson led Notre Dame to a 19-10 record, averaging a career-high 17 points a game and 112 total assists that year, claiming his second All-American selection. Paxson graduated from Notre Dame in 1983 with a business administration degree. Paxson was selected by the San Antonio Spurs with the 19th overall pick of the 1983 NBA draft. In his 2 seasons with the Spurs, he averaged 4.9 points per game and 2.9 assists per game. He then signed as a free agent with the Chicago Bulls. And probably the most notable thing in Paxson's career with the Bulls, he is known for the championship winning shot during Game 6 of the 1993 NBA Finals, when they defeated the Phoenix Suns. After finishing out his career through 1994 with the Bulls, Paxson would become an assistant coach under legendary coach Phil Jackson. Paxson would resurface in 2003 as he left a broadcasting position with the organization to become the general manager of the Bulls after the resignation of longtime general manager Jerry Krause. Paxson would remain as the general manager through 2009, when he was then promoted to the president of basketball operations. He would hold this position through 2020 until he was reassigned as a senior advisor of basketball operations within the organization. So, very, very happy to add John Paxson to the collection. One of the best, if you grew up in the 90s, everybody knows John Paxson playing for the Bulls. To say it honestly, I remember when John hit that three-pointer. I was watching that game live, and when I try to summarize my life, remembering the NBA games, that was, probably one of the most exciting times for me in my life watching the NBA. And it's very hard to explain to some of the younger viewers how enjoyable the NBA was then as opposed to how it is now. It was just a very, very different game. It's still the same game. You're throwing a ball through a hoop, but the way the game was played was just so much differently compared to the way it's played now. So, very happy to add John Paxson to the collection, and we'll move on to the final one. All right, so this final one is postmarked from Jackson, Mississippi, and this is legendary Hall of Famer Bailey Howell on 1/1. Bailey signs for a small donation. Typically, he's 1 per. I think if you include a bigger donation, obviously you'd probably sign a couple more for you. But I chose just to send this one to him, and it showed up really great on this Legends Past and Present card. So let me tell you about Hall of Famer Bailey Howell and his career in basketball. Bailey Howell was born in Middleton, Tennessee, and he played for Middleton High School from 1953 to 1955. He scored 1,187 career points, which was the all-time Tennessee high school record at the time. He was selected all-conference East season as All-State his junior and senior season, and he averaged over 31 points a game as a senior. Howell was recruited nationwide, but instead chose to attend Mississippi State University. Howell, standing at 6'7", played at Mississippi State from 1955 to 1959. Because of the time period, freshmen were not allowed to play, so after his sophomore season, or the beginning of his sophomore season, he made an immediate impact, averaging 25.9 points per game and 19 rebounds a game, as Mississippi State finished 17-8 that year. The 57-58 season saw Mississippi State improve to 20-5, and Howell averaged 27.8 points per game and 16 rebounds per game, making him the SEC MVP. His senior season was a lot more of the same, except Mississippi State went 24-1 that year, winning the SEC Conference Championship, with Howell averaging 27.5 points a game and 15 rebounds a game, winning his second SEC MVP award. Unfortunately, because of the culture that we lived in the 1950s, which I cannot speak for, obviously my parents and my grandparents could, Mississippi State refused to play in the NCAA tournament because they did not believe in integrated teams. So we really don't know how far Bailey Howell would have went in college basketball because the university at the time chose not to participate in the NCAA tournament. Howell was selected the number 2 overall pick in the 1959 NBA draft. Howell was an immediate impact for the Detroit Pistons as he averaged 17 points a game and 10.5 rebounds as a rookie in 59-60. However, the Pistons finished 30-45 that year. In his second season, Howell improved to 23.6 points per game and 14 rebounds in the 60-61 season. Howell was named to his first of 4 consecutive NBA All-Star teams, and on November 25th of 1960, Howell put career highs of 43 points and 32 rebounds in a game against the Lakers. 32 rebounds in one game. That's just crazy. The following year, Howell would continue to average a double-double with 19 points and 12 rebounds a game for the Pistons. In the 62-63 season, he again would average 22.7 and 11 rebounds a game. In 1963-64, the Pistons would drop to a 23-57 record. Despite this, Howell would average 21 points and 10 rebounds that year. After the 64 season completed, Howell's Detroit tenure ended, and he was traded by the Pistons along with Bob Ferry, Les Hunter, Wally Jones, and Don Ohl to the Baltimore Bullets for Derry Dissinger, Don Kogis, and Rod Thorne. With Baltimore in 64-65, Howell continued his dominance, averaging 19 points a game and 10 rebounds, playing alongside future Hall of Famer Walt Bellamy. He would remain with the Bullets through 1966, and on September 1st of 1966, he was traded to the Bullets to the Boston Celtics to play for the Celtics' legendary coach Red Auerbach. Bailey Howell, as you can see him there as a Celtic, joined a roster loaded with future Hall of Famers Bill Russell, John Havlicek, Don Nelson, Casey Jones, Satch Sanders, Wayne Embry, and Sam Jones. Howell blended in quite well, averaging 20 points a game and 8 rebounds a game, as the Celtics finished 60-21 that year. Unfortunately, they would lose to Wilt Chamberlain in the eventual NBA champion Philadelphia 76ers that year. The following year, in 67-68, the Celtics would defeat the Los Angeles Lakers, and Howell would get his first championship ring. In 1968-69, Howell would earn his second NBA championship ring as the Celtics defended their title. Howell was then selected, after his tenure with the Celtics, Howell was then selected in the expansion draft by the Buffalo Braves. However, he never played for the Braves as they flipped him to the Philadelphia 76ers in a trade. At age 34, Howell played one final season with the 76ers in a reduced role, averaging 10 points a game and 5 rebounds a game under then head coach Jack Ramsey. Overall, Howell played 12 seasons in the NBA, 59 to 1971, for the Pistons, the Bullets, the Celtics, and the Sixers. A 6-time NBA All-Star, he scored 17,770 points for an average of 18.7 a game, and had 9,383 rebounds for a total of 9.9 a game. He was elected to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1997. Upon his retirement from the NBA in 1971, Howell was in the NBA's top 10 leaders in 9 statistical categories at that time. After his retirement from being a player, Howell moved back to his roots to Mississippi, and he actually got a job working for Converse and was very notable in the development of the Converse All-Star shoe line. After retiring as an NBA player and retiring from his time with Converse, Howell had become very active with Mississippi State University sports and still is to this day. So, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this. I want to definitely thank Mr. John Paxson for signing, along with Bailey Howell. I also want to thank Mr. Bill Wennington for signing as well. I hope that you enjoyed this episode as I kind of changed it up a little bit and threw some basketball at you as we're in the middle of the basketball season. I really enjoy watching basketball, but like I said earlier in the video, I really enjoyed watching basketball in the 1990s. You know, the game is just so much different now compared to when it was when I was growing up. So if you agree with me, definitely say something down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, happy collecting.